Hello, and welcome to episode 19 of the Baby Metal Podcast. It's September 15th, 2019, here as we record. The podcast is a place where we gather on alternate weeks to discuss news and thoughts on the past and future projects of Baby Metal. We invite you to join us, whether you're a longtime fan or have only just arrived. I am Paul, and I am joined by Kevin.
Welcome back, everybody.
And Garrett.
Hello.
Okay, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about, interestingly. I think we were at one point thinking that it was going to be a little bit dead as the tours progressed, but there's a lot to say. So maybe just a first couple things that I wanted to mention is that we have I haven't been checking it super carefully, but we've gotten some feedback on like in YouTube comments and stuff. I don't know, have you guys seen these?
Yeah,
a little bit,
a couple of them.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I particularly was looking at the previous ones where we covered the Avengers and talked a bit about Sakura Gakuin and Morning Musume. And so I think what I'll do, we'll put a couple of the links here in the show notes. And of course you can also go read the YouTube comments. But thank you for commenting. It's interesting to hear what you think and what we missed and that sort of thing.
Yeah, feedback is always good.
Yeah. So there are actually people listening. But so a couple of things that were mentioned. There's a nice Reddit post that's an introduction to Momoko that we'll link to. That if you wanted more information than the little somewhat shallow thing we did, you can take a look at that. So we'll link to that. There was a mention of the fact that Mikiko, the choreographer, actually did have some interactions with Riho prior to like working with Baby Metal. There's a interesting video where it's sort of like a special tutoring session of 3 members of Morning Musume, including Rio, being taught the choreography to a Perfume song. So that was kind of neat. Involves all of the people that we know. And another thing that I don't think this came up, but it's weird that it didn't. I guess these were the 15th birthdays of Yui and Moa. They each did their own like little solo songs, and both of those songs were Morning Musume songs.
I had no idea.
Huh.
That was like that. Like, I'm surprised we didn't say anything either, because that's kind of huge.
Yeah. So this is Chakotay Love and Love Machine. Both great. I mean, they're sort of early. But
yeah, very early.
I didn't realize those were Morning Musume songs.
Yeah. So the connections run somewhat deep. And then let's see, another couple of notes. We mentioned shuffle units that Sakura Gakuin did sometimes, and there was one that we didn't mention where Aiko and Megu performed, and I'm never actually very good at pronouncing the name of the song, but Onodari Daisaksan. They performed that, so that was the one that we missed. And I guess the last thing I wanted to point out was that we talked a little bit about this like some early stuff that we saw on a Taiwanese show, and I'm looking at the characters that represent the name of that show, but I think I'm not going to even attempt it. But the host of this particular show that we were talking about that had the Baby Metal members on and playing around with the frog and stuff like that and drawing crowded subway cars and things, is the host's name is Aisa Senda, who is a Japanese speaker, but has been working in Taiwan. And what's interesting is that those videos, the original videos, are still on the official channel of the show. They don't have subtitles in English, of course, but so they're still there. They can still be downloaded. I have re-downloaded them today.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's cool.
So
good archiving.
Thank you, but good for them too. I mean, like those were some of the ones that I was most worried would disappear.
Oh, sure.
So,
well, I guess maybe they don't own that content, so they can't purge as easily.
Right. Plus, it is. Well, to the extent that some of the purging is automated, it may not matter. But this was completely kind of like licensed content.
Right.
So, all right. So that's out of the way, but thank you for the feedback. That was good to get, and hopefully we passed along the information faithfully. But okay, so the U.S. tour started, and it almost didn't start.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. Anyone want to who wants to take the Dorian story?
I'll take Dorian.
Okay.
On September 4th, Hurricane Dorian was approaching the Florida area, and it was created a lot of chaos. Did they delay the show? Didn't they? Or did they just carry on at the same time? I missed that part, but I know all about Dorian.
Yeah. I mean, it was very freaky because it basically seemed like there was no way this was going to happen. But then, just because we didn't know where Dorian was going to go, and for a while it looked like it was headed straight for Orlando, where the first stop on the tour is, and then it was then it sort of started bending a little bit up early enough to not hit land, except that it was going slow, so it still was going to be a mess. And I think part of the problem was just that even if Orlando was fine, travel became difficult.
Oh yeah, like people trying to buy tickets or flights getting possibly canceled because they don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, they closed the airport and then opened it again. I mean, like,
did they?
In anticipation, they said it will be closed on, I think, the day before, Tuesday or something.
Yeah, that causes a lot of problems.
Yeah, but it's still the case that they've never canceled.
Show goes on.
I think that's true. I think they have never canceled a show.
You people and your weather, man. I'm just sitting out here in California. What is it?
I live in
rainy?
Missouri, and it changes like every 20 minutes. I wish I was joking. I kind of want to post like screenshots of our weather forecast. It's hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a little bit of excitement, at the very beginning, but it did eventually happen. And it's interesting too that even like neighboring venues closed things, and the very same venue canceled the thing that was the day before. So
yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe it happened.
I know.
But and I didn't put this in the show notes, but there's actually a pretty cool kind of like travel vlog that Slimy Metal put together. So we'll put a link to that as well if you want to just kind of see the event unfold. All right, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, like, so far we've had 6 shows. So there was the Orlando show, then Atlanta, DC, Boston, Philadelphia, and just today as we record, like an hour ago, the New York City show ended. And so there's a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of the stuff is sort of common to all the shows. So I think, we could probably sort of talk about them all at once, I suppose. The Kami Band. Well, yeah, we'll talk about the Kami Band, I guess, in its own separate section.
We could talk about the Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
The Avengers.
Yep. Yeah.
Everybody was kind of speculating we were going to get Riho no matter what, but getting Momoko is pretty sweet.
Yeah, so it was Riho at Orlando, and it was Riho at Atlanta. And then, surprise, at DC, it was Momoko.
Crazy. Nobody expected that. Right out of left field.
Yeah, oh, well, lots of people would claim to have expected that. But any combination of people that you could imagine, someone will have claimed to have expected. But one thing that I think was interesting, I don't know what to make of this, but at the DC show, it was Momoko, and it ended after 10. So I guess whatever, sort of labor constraints that we thought there were don't apply or didn't apply, or they're just saying, we don't care.
Well, she is a year older than Kano.
Right.
I don't know if that matters. And there could be an international thing where they just don't care. Who knows?
Yeah, all we know really is that they blew past 10.
Right.
So, because that was one of the things that was people were using to try to decide whether it could be Momoko or it could be Kano. But
So we have a pattern with that now, right?
I guess
we have Riho, Momoko, and it was Riho tonight, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Is that a
2
pattern?
and 2.
If we get 2 more Rihos.
2-2. If we have another Riho tomorrow or the next show, not tomorrow.
Well, no, it's
you're missing one.
Yeah.
Am I missing one?
Yeah, it's Rio, Momoko. DC, Boston, and Philly were all Momoko.
Oh. Well, then disregard this the last minute of this show.
Oh, it's a pattern, all right. It's a completely incomprehensible pattern. The next one, it will be the letters EP.
Yes, there you go.
Actually, that's a reference that it's possible people don't know. But anyway, I've used for a long time. I've used as my pretty much since the beginning. I've been using as my little avatar the EP from that puzzle, and maybe someday we'll come back to talk about that. But there's
It's not.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good time.
But okay, so what to say? There's okay, we've seen I guess we've seen equal amounts of Riho and Momoko now, given that even though they haven't been alternating completely evenly, we've seen three shows with Riho and 3 shows with Momoko. We have possible speculation that Kano will be the one who plays the forum, just because it's certainly going to be Pro Shot, and so far Kano has been the Pro Shot Avenger. But
That's a funny title, just to say that out loud. The Pro Shot Avenger.
Yeah. Very cool. But it took them a long time to sort of tell us what the tour merch was going to be, but they eventually did. So that's pretty cool. They have, new t-shirt designs, they have new keychain, they have a flag. They have a big flag.
I'm buying that flag. Like, it's premeditated in my head. Like, I'm thinking about buying it before I even go find a standing spot.
Yeah.
Like, you can't?
No, so I believe you can only buy the flag after the concert.
Okay, well, it looks like the one's getting cut off short for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, so I think this came up at the Orlando show, that the venue itself has a no flags rule, and so they didn't sell the flags beforehand, and I don't think they sold the flags at all actually at Orlando, but after that they put up a little thing saying the flags are available after the show. So
yeah, wall flags are my thing. I got to get one of those and a T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Those official ones are too hard to get nowadays.
Well, they're not cheap. They're $40 each.
3 it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And you also they're limited to 2 per design, so you can't just go and buy 10 of one. But let's see what else. There's a towel with a 3D. Actually, both the flag and the towel have a 3D BABYMETAL logo on it. There are a couple other things that I didn't pay much attention to because I wasn't going to buy, but like do you guys know, like something? Oh, good. There's in the chat room, it has been posted. So there's a snapback cap and I think a hoodie and something else. A
long sleeve sweatshirt, a keychain.
Yeah. Oh, the keychain.
Might snag that keychain too. I need one of those.
Yeah, I got the keychain. I like last year's keychain better, actually.
Really? Actually, was something I was going to ask you, because I'm rocking the last year one, the gold one.
Yeah, this one is silver, but it also seems a little cheaper.
Is it smaller?
I think it's about the same size. It's maybe a tiny little bit smaller, but
that's my only complaint about last year's keychain is it's enormous.
Yeah,
it's not terribly comfortable in my pocket.
Yeah, mine's purely decorative. But yeah, so they do sell a towel, and a towel is kind of like something that you would want at the show if you can manage to get to the merch first, because it's part of the fans' obligation during Papaya.
Yeah,
the towel.
Yes,
borderline mandatory.
Right. So if you don't think you're going to go to merch first, bring a different towel, I guess. So, what else? Oh, VIP gifts. That was interesting. Now, of course, the VIP gifts are always like cheap, chintzy little dumb things. um, I mean, the people like to make jokes, I guess, about like, oh, look, these are my like $300 trinkets. But this time the VIP, like regular VIP, got a lanyard, like actually pretty nice, little plastic lanyard, and a drink koozie.
Woo!
So, definitely worth the price. And
Woo.
if you are chosen one, the highest tier of VIP, then, and I think, I don't think the VIP 2, the regular VIP's got the drawstring bag, but that's the thing I think is the best of the VIP gifts is the bag to put the merch in.
That's a good plan. Walk in with that, like expecting to buy 12 shirts, and just stuff it.
Yeah, I don't think it can hold quite 12.
Oh.
At the merch table I was at, they actually also had plastic bags to stuff things in. So.
Okay, that works too.
But the chosen one, the main objects that the chosen one got were metal straws. So very metal. Not all that heavy, but metal. And also with a little pipe cleaner thing to clean them out with. So.
I'll take that over a bandana.
Yeah, last year there was a bandana and I forget what else.
A lanyard.
Is that
I should get the lanyard every year. That's here. You literally just got a bandana.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Woo.
I think, I should wind up with, I think I'll wind up with 2 of the straws. Maybe not, actually. I guess seated VIP at the forum might count as VIP too.
Yeah, well, we don't know. And they might not do the same gift. Who knows?
Yeah. But I might use the straws. I think they're pretty cool, actually. I kind of like that.
I kind of like them.
So, but okay, so all that sort of practical stuff. Maybe now the time has arrived to talk about the Kami band. So, and of course, Orlando was the first time that anybody got a chance to see them. They have not changed over the time, over the 6 shows that we've seen. But, and as we know, they've been wearing, in all the sort of recent shows, they've been wearing these masks, right? So you can't actually see their faces anymore. And so you sort of know who people are by the instruments that they play, right? Like Bose bass and so forth. And all the instruments were different.
Yep.
So. I mean, after they started playing with masks on, I think it was kind of speculated a little bit they're going to change up the commies a little bit soon.
Yeah.
So I wasn't shocked by it, but after learning who they were, I was pretty excited. Like I'm totally okay with it. They were covered by Galactic Empire with Chris Kelly on guitar. I don't know if you guys have listened to much of Galactic Empire, but they're good.
Yeah, well, so Galactic Empire was they played 3 shows in Japan as like opening for BABYMETAL.
Yeah.
They're the Star Wars cover band, basically.
Yeah.
Metal Star Wars band. And yeah, so after Orlando, there was a fair amount of like quick detective work looking at like the guitars people were playing, the tattoos people had, and fairly quickly, like within 30 minutes probably of the Orlando show, the people were identified as the 2 guitarists from Galactic Empire, so Chris Kelly and CJ Masciantonio. Not sure how you pronounce that, but maybe I got close.
It sounded close.
And then Clint Tustin on bass. These 3 are all from Galactic Empire. And then Anthony Bardone from Shadow of Intent on the drums. So, I think the first reaction to this being a set of Kami band members that we didn't know was not fully positive.
Shocking.
I have to say that once we discovered that it was Galactic Empire basically playing, that turned me around quite a bit because that's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And they fit the part too. Like they're good. Like they're playing all the guitar parts spot on pretty much. Like with a couple differences here and there, this sounds phenomenal. At least from the footage that I've seen.
Mm-hmm. I think I believe that you can sort of hear the difference in the drums, and I think that the sort of soloing style is somewhat different. But yeah, I mean, I think they were very good. So let's see what to say. I mean, I guess, I don't know. It was interesting. I think we had a little bit of a hint. I don't even know if I should say, but I mean, there was something slightly better than speculation that there was going to be a little bit of pressure to sort of minimize the number of people that need visas. So,
Right.
And the Kami Band is a group of people that you could conceivably cover locally. So I still don't know what this means about the forum. I would like to believe that at least some of the people that we're familiar with from being in the Kami Band before will show up there. So
I hope so, at least. Like, I like to have the full cast up there, like get Omura and Bo and like Heideki on drums and everything all up there, because this is a big arena show. That'd be the first time ever not the Kami Band we know has not played the arena. Like, I can understand like a tour around the United States going small venue to small venue, but I don't think those pro shots. Yeah. Like, do they really want the guitarists of Galactic Empire in the pro shots, or will they even feature them in the pro shots? I assume they will.
Yeah, hard to know. And also, I mean, another thing that's kind of interesting to think about is they're doing, I think, 3 shows after the forum. There's a festival and then Portland and Seattle. And it's quite possible that if the sort of familiar Kami Band members come back for the forum, they might stick around for those too. So all very interesting. But I mean, I think so. There was, as usual, there's a spike in drama when this first came about, and I think it's perfectly reasonable, it seems to me, to be kind of sad about not being able to see a particular individual that you wanted to see. I mean, we kind of know Bo and Hideki and Omura and to some extent Leida and Isao and the people that we've seen play before, and it's certainly reasonable to be disappointed if you wanted to see them that they weren't there. But I think the people who they did get did a great job. So, and I'm really pleased actually that they sort of tapped Galactic Empire for this. It's all connected. Everything's connected.
I'm gonna say I need to soapbox for a little bit. That's why I've been quiet.
Okay. Hold forth.
So I think it's important to remember, for those of you that are, even maybe more distanced from this fandom now because of the change in the musicians, that since its inception, the Kami Band has always supposed to be anonymous. Attachments we've made as a fan base are things we have done. The Kami Band is not BABYMETAL. Those are the performers in front of the band. It's always been set up in such a way that whoever is playing the music is the Kami Band. Right? Does that make sense? Are we on the same page here?
Yes.
That's one of the things I think I've seen people struggling with. My Kami Band. That's not the Kami Band. So my first point is, well, it is. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. You and it's totally okay to have your favorite musician or musicians or members of the Kami Band. I'm the same way. I'm not just doing this because I don't care who's back there. If I had a choice, I would choose the guys I'm familiar with and the guys who've been playing for years at this point. Mm-hmm. But when I take a step back and I'm like, okay, the reason they probably did this from the beginning is so that, if somebody's sick or has a conflicting tour in Japan or something like that, they're easily replaceable. The show can continue without them. Now that they have these masks on, I think in hindsight, it's super clear that this has been planned for a while, trying to anonymize?
Mm-hmm.
Anonymize?
Sure.
Re-anonymize. Sure. Make the band anonymous again, right? Because they were going to do something like either bring in Galactic Empire because they didn't want to pay for visas, or it could be that these guys simply wanted to work on the Cariban album. We know from Twitter that that's something that's currently happening right now. They're in the studio recording. So maybe they wanted to do that and work on their own projects and not just be the anonymous musicians behind BABYMETAL for at least this tour. So that's just kind of my rant. I think it's important. It's important to kind of look at the big picture. Understand that it's okay to have your favorites and not like who's back there, but like Garrett said, they're doing a really good job. It's cool that it's the Galactic Empire guys because they've performed with the group before as an opening act, and I think that's awesome. Not just getting random people, bringing up people that you worked with and can trust. I think that says a lot about Koba as a producer and a person, that he didn't just reach out to somebody. He tried to keep it maybe in the family, so to speak. And that, I am sure we're not done seeing Bo and Hideki, Leda, Omura, and these guys. Mm-hmm. If anything, they'll probably be in Japan. I hope they're at the Forum. I think that would be really cool because it's a pro shot. I think, just like it's been speculated already, that if they're going to show up on this tour, I think that's where it's going to happen. But if not, they're still doing a great job as Galactic Empire. The concert's still going to be fun. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. You still had fun the other night?
I did indeed.
And the music sounded good?
Yep.
It sounded a little different, and that's okay. It's going to, because they're different musicians. They're going to put their own flavor on it. But the product is still really good. The experience is still really fun. And I think that's important to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the Kami situation is actually not that much different from the Avenger one in a sense. People go, oh, I hope Rio's there, I hope Momoko's there. And, it's not like you hate the fact that the one you didn't say shows up,
Yeah.
But, I would have loved to see Omura last year, but I still went and enjoyed it, so... And
the vitriol I've seen from people online and on Twitter and things like that has been really disappointing, because it's like, I get it, I want to see those guys too, but these guys are out there performing on the biggest stage they ever have, in a fanatic fan base. The pressure's really high and they're kicking ass, and that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it does seem like it is actually a really good opportunity for Galactic Empire. The Japan shows already were. It's funny, actually. I think we talked, I don't know, like 2 or 3 episodes ago about this podcast that there was, they were talking about this on, or 1 or 2 of the Galactic Empire guys. Of course, they didn't mention this part.
Right.
But, yeah. Good, because surely by then they were already practicing, or at least getting close to that.
Probably.
So, yeah, I think it is pretty easy to try to define the Kami and metal and things like that ourselves, but there is, in the framework of the band and the lore and the concept, it is basically the people who are there, they are the Kami band.
Yep. I could be back there playing the spoons with a mask and I would be a Kami band member, is my point.
Yeah. But people rightfully would be upset by that.
Yes, people would rightfully be upset by that. But that's just my whole point. It's like, I get it. They're not the people you're used to, but they're the Kami band. They're what we get. They're doing a good job.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's nice to I don't know, nice to see. I don't know. We've made it through that. I put things in the show notes in an order. The next thing in the order is the Boston show, because I was there. And I was thinking maybe I could use that as part of a framework to kind of like talk about the show itself.
Yeah. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess maybe one thing to say, although maybe I'll return to...
Wait.
I don't know, we could maybe talk about Avatar first. But
what time did you get in line?
Oh,
did you have seated or were you VIP?
I was chosen one. I was
Chosen. Okay, so it's irrelevant then.
Yeah. Well, I was there. I actually forgot my number. 6. I was chosen 6. I got there at about 10 a.m.
my funny story. My girlfriend's actually planning on dropping me off in line before she goes and checks in at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm real life stories. Okay, continue.
Yeah. No, it's actually kind of interesting that the number of VIPs so far, I mean, I think maybe today's in New York City was slightly more, but there weren't all that many VIPs, so I think under 20 chosen ones, probably around like under 40 total.
Wow.
So, and I mean, it's super expensive, so that's part of it. But, and yeah, I don't know exactly what. Maybe that is the only thing, because I don't. The people who would get the VIP tickets are also the ones who would know that it's happening. So it's not a marketing failure, probably. But anyway, yeah. So I was there from 10, and there was pretty small number of people. I mean, there's probably a dozen people were there up until around noon. So, and it was like the one hot day, too. It's quite irritating. It's like,
yeah,
of course.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. At least it wasn't raining, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so one thing about the small number of VIPs is if that holds and you're an early GA, then it's practically, it sort of promotes everybody, right? I mean, so if you're first GA and there are only 40 VIPs total, then you're going to have a pretty good spot if you just go straight there. But it was kind of neat. So like sat there in the line and watched, the couple different buses arrive with trailers. So saw Avatar unloading there. Oh yeah, I haven't mentioned this time, but the opening band was Avatar, this Swedish circus metal band.
Right.
I like them. I've been listening to them before they started touring with BABYMETAL.
Yeah, I didn't know them before I heard about them in this tour. But maybe I'll talk a bit about that anyway, I guess. But I really liked them.
They're cool.
Yeah, they so I had heard they have maybe one of their more famous songs is "Hail the Apocalypse."
That's a good one.
Yeah, and I heard them play, like maybe I heard the end of them playing that at a festival while we were waiting for BABYMETAL to play or something. I remember seeing it on a stream and thinking, not being super impressed by it because it was just sort of like screaming and I don't know, didn't seem very interesting. But when I went back and kind of like looked into them more seriously, knowing that I was going to be seeing them, I think they're good. I mean, they're actually good. It's not, they're very good at their instruments. It's not all just like screamy, growly stuff, but it's, there's melody in there as well. The singers are actually quite good. But more than anything, they are just like over the top performers. It is just, they don't take themselves super seriously, but they play super well. They're like caricatures of themselves. It's, I had a blast.
Awesome.
So, and I would see them, I think, again, if on their own. So,
well, that's something right there.
Yeah, they're very entertaining. I think they're very good. Like, I could probably talk about them for about a quarter as long as I could talk about BABYMETAL, but
yeah,
I've seen them more times than I've seen BABYMETAL. So,
oh, you have. You've seen them. You've seen them play.
I've seen them 3 times now. This will be my 4th.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Yeah. So, I was going to say about that. Oh, what I discovered this actually kind of recently, but it turns out, so Avatar's opening for BABYMETAL as they go through this relatively densely packed tour, so like BABYMETAL plays a show and then they have a day off and they play a show and then they have a day off and then they play a show and have 2 days off and then play a show. All those in between days, Avatar's playing their own headlining shows elsewhere.
Wow.
It's unreal. So like they played Montreal right before they came to Boston. So they're intermingling this quite. I mean, I don't even know how they do it. But
Swedish black magic, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, so they so what kind of reminded me of that is I saw them. Avatar has on their stage they've got the drums up on kind of a platform, and everybody else is kind of in the two guitars and the bass and the singer are kind of in the front, and then behind them there in big letters it says Avatar, and like these really kind of circusy letters, and all the A's in there are actually Cyrillic D's. Which is really kind of distracting because it looks like DVDTDR to me, but at any rate, but it really does have this sort of circus feel. But I got to see them like unloading those A's or D's or whatever they are from their little trailer and carrying them around. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
You do lose a little bit of the magic when you actually see it be set up like that.
Yeah.
But because they look a lot bigger when they're on the stage than when just someone's carrying them around. But yeah, and actually, then after their trailer was done, and another bus with another trailer came in, and there was it had a bunch of boxes in it that they actually said merchandise on them, and
nice,
labeled.
Yeah, but the thing I didn't understand, I thought they took some out, but it seemed like they actually put more in. So it seemed like they were taking stuff out of the House of Blues and putting them into the trailer. So I don't understand that, but I'm wondering if maybe they had some shipped to Boston and they're picking up more for the rest of the shows.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure they have several points throughout the tour where they unload more merchandise.
Yeah, because it's not that big of a trailer, really.
Right.
I assume everybody's listening to this has seen these pictures of the buses with the trailers behind them.
Yeah.
That'll look the same.
Bus metal.
Yeah, exactly. And I noted that the guy who was loading the merch back on the trailer had a Forum shirt on from the LA
nice.
Forum.
Nice.
So, okay, so let's see what else. Whatever. The line grew eventually, and at the show I was at, it was handled pretty well by the venue. I haven't heard actually many people complaining about the venues they were at. So they let the VIP chosen ones in first. And we stood around a little bit outside the venue. They had a chance for a little bathroom break or whatever before you actually got into the main room. And then they let us in, and then they let the VIP2s in after. So it was staged quite well, and then they paused all of that before the GA came in. So you could in principle have gone, I didn't, but you could have in principle gone to get merch and not gotten a particularly bad spot.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah. I wouldn't count on it. I mean, I had vowed from the outset that I was going to go straight to the barrier. And actually, so I forget what the Boston show was third, maybe fourth. And I'd seen some fan cams and stuff from the prior shows, and the way they had the stage set up, they had, after Avatar was gone, they set everything up. They at the prior shows had these platforms, that our three people would get up onto, and so that people in the back could see them, right? But in the fan cams, I could see that if you're at the barrier, it really seemed like the platforms kind of obstructed the view. So,
that sucks.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. It's a big flat thing, and they're actually kind of big barriers this time. Not barriers, platforms. But so I'd plotted ahead of time. I'm like, all right, I don't want to get stuck. I don't want to get stuck not being able to see because I'm just looking at this table the whole time. So I'd sort of plotted my route to go pretty much straight to where I thought would be between the center barrier and the Moa side barrier.
Uh-huh.
And I just went. I was I don't know what it was. I was probably actually ninth into the place. I just went straight there. And it turned out actually that I'd miscalculated, and I think if there had been platforms, which there weren't, that's the thing I was building to, is that in Boston they didn't use platforms anyway.
Right.
But I would have been right in front of it because I turned out that I was basically at Moa's spot.
Awesome.
Which is amazing.
That's prime real estate, as they call it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't fully even intend for that to happen, but I mean, now that I know that it did, I would intend for that to happen again. So, I think the venues varied a little bit in how close the barrier was to the stage, but the one in Boston was really, really close. I mean, like I couldn't actually reach the stage, but I think if I had like an arm that was 150% as long as mine is, I could have. I mean, it was
Awesome.
really right there. And so anyway, I mean, I guess I have a couple things that I just sort of experiential things that I had there was, so I have these like fancy, music earplugs because you want to save your hearing. You don't want to be deaf or have tinnitus or something. And these are known to be fairly loud. So, I put them in, but I do find that it's kind of, it's really pretty surreal, or it's weird, the sound that you get, with those in. So even though it's probably much better than just like the dumb foam ones, it still does kind of mute things in a weird way.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that actually I found the most weird about this, and I should have remembered this from last year, but I just didn't, was that you hear yourself in a very weird way. So, like, I wanted to sing along and, whatever, but I probably was not, and I thought I kind of was, but I bet I was barely making any sound at all.
Oh, interesting.
Because, because I sound super loud to myself.
Uh-huh.
So,
I actually wore those to the show I went to last year. I actually took them out like a quarter of the way in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my ears are already jacked up from playing in a band and stuff like that. So like, my ears weren't even ringing afterwards. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my girlfriend wear them. I'm not gonna wear them.
Well, yeah, and I'm sort of thinking that maybe I could have gotten away with not wearing them. And part of what I was thinking about there was that the stage is not designed for the music to sound good to the people at the barrier.
No, it's not.
All this, like the people on the stage have monitors pointing at them, not at me at the barrier, and then all of the big speakers are overhead, not pointed down but pointed out, right? Mm-hmm. So actually, what I found the weirdest about this was that I noticed this particularly like when Avatar came up, and I kind of know the songs. I'd done a little bit of homework ahead of time, and so I knew there was like a nice guitar part going on. I could see the person right in front of me doing things with his fingers.
But you couldn't hear it.
But I couldn't hear it. Like I had to kind of strain to hear, like I knew what it was supposed to sound like, but it was very strange because he was acting like he was being very dramatic, but nothing was coming out.
Right.
So I kind of want to watch the fan cams of that. I haven't found very many of Avatar, but I kind of want to see what everybody else heard.
I've kind of noticed your mileage may vary when you're on the barrier as far as the sound quality you get.
Yeah. So I think in retrospect I should have taken the earplugs out because then I would have heard a little better. And I don't think it would have hurt me.
Right.
But okay, let's see, what else did I want to say? At the Boston show, well, there's a couple sort of Boston specific things. But maybe I'll say that after I say that it was, so I saw them last year, just kind of, third or fourth row back. Being at the barrier with nobody in front of you, them right there, it's more surreal than I anticipated. Like, I knew it was going to be neat to be able to see them, but it's so weird. Like, I know all of this stuff so well by now. Like, I know all this choreography. I know what they're doing. And just to see them doing it right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
It's really something.
That right there is why I always show up, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning to try and get a barrier spot.
Yeah. And, I think I don't exactly believe this. I don't know if I believe this or not, but I certainly got the feeling that like Mo was like looking at me, it's like, I mean, it was sort of embarrassing. I'm like, I should be like, rocking out harder.
Well, statistically, she more than likely looked at you if you're on the barrier.
Oh, right yeah, I know. But you get the feeling.
Yeah, she's keeping staring at you. Why aren't you enjoying?
Yeah. Well,
Really
who
says a
knows?
lot about her maturity as a performer to make everybody feel like that up front.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. Is that like it can't possibly be true, but it really feels like that, and I bet it felt like that for a
Uh-huh.
lot of the people around me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So question: has your heart started beating again yet, or
That was pretty wild. Yeah, it was. I was really pretty pleased, and actually, the other thing too is that they do rotate a bit. So Momoko did come over for a bit, to the side I was on, and you could see Sue really well from there. So I would, except I would recommend everybody go for that spot that I was at, except it shows that I'm at because I want to be there. But, okay, so let's see. Anyway, the other things about the Boston show specifically, it was sort of funny at the very beginning. So the very beginning of the show, they show sort of like a movie with an English narrated. Are all of you ready to headbang or whatever, which always feels a little weird. But
Yeah.
and then they walk out and do Magitsune right in the beginning. But in the Boston show, for whatever reason, only Moa came out. It's like Moa came out right on time, and like right at the last second, the other two just like hustled up right behind her. So I don't know what was going on, but it looked pretty weird. That was for a little while. It looked like Moa was early, except that she wasn't. It's pretty clear if you look at it that the other two are they're kind of racing to get out into position.
Uh-huh.
But
Is that I saw a photo of Momoko with her IEM taped in. Was that Boston? Maybe she was having IEM troubles?
I think I didn't notice it at the time, but I think that might have been it. I mean, that is at least some of the speculation that maybe sort of that was the initial delay that took them a second to get out, that they had to reaffix it or something.
Right. And Sue, being the tour mom, I'm sure she was making sure she was good to go.
Yeah, and I think, so the yeah, I mean, I think it's, what was I going to say? No, I've lost the thought, but I've gotten lost in memories of seeing this thing. But oh well, it'll come back to me. But the other thing that also happened at the Boston show was, angers me, but angers everybody. And it was really quite startling, because I could see it happening, but it was a little bit into Magitsune. Somebody from the audience threw what was it was like a cup of water or ice or something that onto the stage, which landed right at Momoko's feet.
Uh-huh.
And
that's a huge hazard.
Yeah, and it you could see it startled her, but
yeah.
But then it's just it sort of continued, and of course the thing is that of course they put liquid on the stage, so basically they kind of just went, they played through it. At a certain point they came forward on the stage, and someone from the staff quickly went back there and mopped it all up. And at a break, while the cup was there, at a call and response break, Momoko picked up this cup and sort of in this super friendly way, just kind of handed it to staff person on the side. It was it's really delightful looking, but it sort of makes me angry at our Boston audience.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I think it's perhaps somewhat in character for Boston, and it of course was immediately blamed on somebody who likes Avatar. And it may well be that there was a person who liked Avatar who was also an idiot.
Yeah.
But
I think that's just a hazard of concerts in the West.
Yeah. I have no reason to think that this had anything to do, I don't think it was aimed, I don't think this was anything about Momoko. I think this was about somebody being drunk and dumb.
Yep.
But anyway, another thing I wanted to say, so as they were setting it up, they didn't have any sort of sheet or anything in front, so you could sort of see them setting things up, laying out the headbanger mic, and which they played headbanger, Should I say that? Do we know that? I mean, I guess I haven't even put.
You haven't actually talked about the concert
set list
yet.
Here.
The music part we kind of glossed over.
Yeah, but it was just great. But it was interesting to see them put the mask out for Headbanger or the microphone out and stuff, and the mask out for Magitsune. And anyway, yes. So I don't have the set list in front of me, stupidly. But I've been talking for a while, so maybe someone else can run through the set list, and then I'll have a couple things to say still.
Yeah, go ahead, Garrett.
The set list is started off with Megitsune, and then went into the English version of Elevator Girl, followed by Shanty, and then a Kami solo. That's pretty huge.
Mm-hmm.
Not from our Kami band, but yeah, I'm joking. That was followed by Kaguro.
Kaguro, yeah.
Kaguro. I'm struggling here, Kaguro. And that led into Starlight, followed by Future Metal, and then Gimme Chocolate. We knew that was going to be played. It always is. Papaya, Distortion, Karate, Headbanger.
Yeah.
And then they play some kind of video. Can you go into detail about that? Because I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, is this the Comet thing? Maybe it's the Comet thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
I don't know what to say about that exactly. I mean,
It's just like a break.
Yeah, I think it was mostly just. What was that about? I actually don't even remember.
I watched one of the shows and I remember seeing it, but I can't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, they essentially it was sort of like a comet that headed across the screen, and I think it eventually turned into their logo. But yeah, I think that really was just a pause. That's funny. I'd kind of forgotten all about that.
Yeah. And then it goes into the 1, and then Road of Resistance. Oh, I was wrong. Earlier, whenever I mentioned leaving early to get merch, I said, it looks like I'll be leaving early during the 1, and then I should have said Road of Resistance, but no, I can't do that. So 12-song set list. That's pretty long. I feel like I'm happy with that. Was it 90 minutes, you said?
I think it was 10 last year.
Yeah, it was. I think people have clocked it in at something like 64 minutes.
Oh.
But
I mean, I'll take it,
yeah.
For real.
It's about 10 minutes longer than last year.
Yeah.
The Kami solo was great.
Yeah,
I love watching that.
So the fact that they played Headbanger is unexpected and delightful.
Yeah,
very delightful.
The fact that they didn't end on the 1 is kind of weird. I'm also, I mean, I think it's neat. I sort of feel like there might be things that I would rather hear than the 1, but it does give at least an opportunity to do something sort of slow. It's the unfinished that builds into the 1. But then they actually end on Road of Resistance, which is a bit more of a hype ending.
Yes.
And I didn't mention this about Avatar, but and I assume that Avatar's been doing this forever. Maybe this was actually just for their beginning, but they do the same thing that BABYMETAL does. So at the end, they say "we are," and then everybody's supposed to say "Avatar." So you had sort of like 2 chances to do that at these shows, but
somebody in the Discord said that I missed
you didn't.
Shanty and Papaya. Like I said, I didn't think I did, but just to be sure,
because I remember thinking, no, it's Shanty.
Okay,
but,
good.
Yes.
For no particular reason, but probably I think for me the sort of biggest thing to talk about in these shows is Kaguro. That's sort of the biggest different thing. First of all, it started with solos,
mm-hmm.
which is that's unusual. I mean, we didn't have Kami solos
for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where people say, oh, what they sounded like American guitars or whatever, but there, it was kind of neat. It fit well, it's a pretty soloable thing, and it then turns right into the Kaguro that we're used to, except that it's no longer a Sue solo. So last year it was a Sue solo.
Right.
Was Orlando the first time they played it as a trio instead of a solo?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
That's what I thought.
And yeah, so the it's really something. It's really different. It's a very different sort of style of dancing, and it's definitely more grown up, more slinky. It's really interesting. So, and I mean, that's actually the one thing that I remembered quite well was standing at the Moa spot, seeing her come in for Kagero, because it's a weird move. it's a weird move she makes. It's hard to describe. I think you just need to go see it. But anyway, that was really something. I mean, I think that was probably the the sort of standout for the show, was like all the stuff around Kagero, making it a full trio song, having the Kami Band intro, having this much more elaborate choreography, much more planned. I mean, like it isn't this sort of like free stuff that she was doing before.
Right.
They still play the original version of Distortion.
Or
yeah,
did
they play.
they?
Or did they? What? Elaborate.
There wasn't anything.
Or
that
is
I
there
recognized
really
that
a
was
different version?
Different. Yeah. Don't know, but anyway. So I mean, that's probably enough of a show report, though. I mean, I sort of feel like there's more I could say, but it was great. Everyone who has seen one of these 6 shows that's happened so far, I think will also have that. Hopefully there won't be any others that have things thrown and land on the stage. But yeah, so go to as many of the future ones as you can.
Yeah.
Maybe one thing that I would say about just sort of the after show, there almost all of these shows, there are after parties organized. If you don't know about it, go find out about it. There will be something on the subreddit, or it's not necessarily true that at every show there will be one, but at a lot of them there are. And I think at the Boston one, various things conspired to make that not work very, very well. Actually, and a couple of these there weren't. So I don't know. I forget which one it was. Maybe it was Atlanta. There was one that had like a sports event at the same time, which kind of flooded all the bars nearby and made it actually pretty difficult to hold a after party. And at the Boston one, I think just nobody knew it was happening. So it's too bad, because it was actually right next to the venue, but there was probably like 20 people there at most. So definitely look at that. A lot of these are organized by Brian Peters, who did a lot of work actually, like setting up the venues, and it would have been I think it probably would have been a little bit more organized at Boston, except that he wasn't able to come at the last second because like he had his phone stolen and had to deal with that, which is pretty horrible. But anyway, so look for after parties. There will likely be an after party at the future ones.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. Okay. I've been talking and talking and talking. So
well, it was your turn to finally go to a show and give us a show report. Yeah, I
guess
we've both done it.
That's true.
My turn.
Yeah. But okay, so maybe we can move on to other. Oh yeah, somebody actually mentioned that in the chat that was going by that I forgot to mention. But I think I don't know who did it first. It's possible that Avatar leaned on BABYMETAL's We Are, and BABYMETAL definitely leaned on X Japan's. I'm pretty sure that X Japan is where that came from. But okay, let's see. So the next thing, we have many other things here. So some stuff about the forum show. Maybe someone else want to start reading through the show notes so I can stop. I can give other people a chance to talk.
I'll take it away. They announced a bunch of live viewings in Japan. It says over 50 venues in Japan for live viewing. That's huge.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's like more than any other festival. Well, not festival, arena show, right? Like that's kind of a lot.
Do people know? So they did this with Wembley, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I assume the scope of this is bigger.
Yeah, I don't know how big that was. No idea.
Okay, it's 51, I think, now. 51 total.
That's good prime number.
Yeah.
Is it? I think it is. Anyway, so yeah, I think that kind of proves that the forum's going to be a big deal.
Whether the Americans want it to or not, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, like a big production. Yeah, in the chat, it was suggested that Wembley was actually only one or maybe 4 screens, but nothing even close to 51.
Right.
So.
Isn't it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just remembered something I forgot to say, and that was kind of dumb for me to interject like that. But I got all the merch I wanted.
Yo,
hey,
nice.
Congratulations.
I went after, and it was still there. So
That's impressive.
yeah. Anyway, sorry. Back to the live viewings. Actually, maybe we're done with the live viewings.
Yeah, you guys could talk about like what it. Neither one of you have been to a live viewing before, right? Is it like literally just a movie theater with like traditional speakers, or do they do anything fancy, or how does it work?
So in Japan they've given stuff away, just like
Cool.
being VIP at a show here. Like you go to a live viewing and you can get a ticket that gets you, a chintzy little piece of merch that you're gonna put in a box and never look at. But yeah, it's just go watch a concert at a movie theater.
Yeah, that I wish they did that here more. Like honestly, I'd do that.
Oh yeah, I think
it's pretty fun.
I think we would we pushed the Baby Metal GN account a little bit to try to see if they could use whatever influence they had on Japan to see if they could have some local ones for the previous, like the Japan concerts. Didn't go very well. but he tried. So let's see, other thing, this will surprise nobody, but it turns out that Bring Me the Horizon will open for Baby Metal in Japan.
But the question is, are they gonna perform together, or is it just gonna be like a similar deal with Avatar? Because like Bring Me the Horizon and Baby Metal are seen together so much, they gotta sing a song together, right? They gotta feature one another, right? Surely.
Don't know.
It's possible.
I fingers crossed. I'd like to see that.
Not impossible.
Yeah.
I'd pay to see Ollie come out and sing karate.
I forget, where was this? It was oh yeah, it's in something that we were gonna cover later here, but Koba was speculating that maybe the introduction of dancers by Bring Me the Horizon was actually, inspired by Baby Metal. But I think, it'd be interesting if they performed together. I don't know if I expect it. I think I kind of don't, but it's true that they're more closely intertwined than most other bands they've been sort of like seen with. So, okay, maybe we should move on to the other thing. There's another actually big section here of news to talk about, which is that suddenly we are going to have a huge number of like interviews and stuff. We have 3 different like major publications that have them on the cover. And one of them is Metal Hammer, and it's already come out, and it's in English, so we know what it says. But the other 2 are PMC, so what is that? PM Music Complex, I think. Volume 15. So that was, PMC had an interview with them before too. Had the cover with them in the sort of like, Holocaust cloaks or whatever those are.
Holocaust cloaks.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm channeling the Princess Bride here now.
Yes. Wow.
But at any rate, anyway, so they have another one now. Much cheerier looking cover, and that will come out at the end of September. And it says it has interviews with Koba and Mikiko. Allegedly a New York City show report, so I guess they're writing it now because it just ended.
Oh yeah.
And long interview with Baby Metal as well. So this is all basically just what it says on the cover, but that's going to be interesting. It's going to be in Japanese, so it'll be a while before there's a translation that I can understand, I think, but that's excellent. and Hedoban, as we've been counting on Hedoban to give us a good long interview, and they have the cover of Volume 24. That comes out October 3rd. So all of these before the new album. Anyway, yeah. What else? The Hedoban one does promise to be big too. I mean, so they have the cover, they have a photo shoot, they have an interview with BABYMETAL, a long interview with Koba about the album. So I'm hoping that is going to be like one of the track by track things that we had for Metal Resistance.
That would be really cool.
Wow, yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, yeah. Have you guys? I don't know if have you guys looked at the Metal Hammer interview?
I glanced over it. I didn't really get too far in depth with it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I have not had a chance yet.
See, I'm going to end up talking the whole time for this too.
I'll try and help you out.
Okay, yeah.
It's by design, Paul.
You
so
can
I don't
be
have to do
my
any
hype
work.
people.
Word.
But so yeah, so this came out. This is Metal Hammer 327, and it has them. It has Sue and Mo on the front. It was released on September 12th, which is like 4 days ago now. And okay, so we have. Let's see, what should I say? There's a little bit of stuff, scattered throughout. The letter from the editor at the beginning, sort of like promotes BABYMETAL, and there's a little thing somewhere in the following pages that says that Metal Galaxy is one of the things they've been blasting in the office, which makes me think that they have it. So that's something.
Review copies going out already, maybe.
Yeah.
Share.
Exactly. But yeah, so they did a little bit. I think they did a little bit of the interview after the Brixton show. After the Brixton show and after Glastonbury, and they sort of started right in talking about BABYMETAL. Like second paragraph, they're talking about this already.
Yeah. They want to.
Oh, I did read
this
now.
One. Yeah, that's like the main thing I remember from reading it was the Yui stuff.
Yeah. They talk about a little bit about the UK shows there, but Mo says basically that the travel schedule kind of made everything a blur. So, and commented on sort of performing to Glastonbury, which is kind of more of a pop-based crowd than the ones that they often play to. So they thought that was sort of interesting. The article notes that Syncopation and Starlight both got their first performances outside Japan. And then they revisit Yui again in the second paragraph as part of the changes that they've undergone. So it seems like Yui and BABYMETAL are starting to be, and I don't know actually what the system is. They used BABYMETAL sometimes and Yui other times, and maybe they were using it properly and maybe they just interchanged them. I don't know. But anyway, she's
Force
not
of habit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, the way you're supposed to use it is BABYMETAL is the character who is now gone.
Yeah.
Right.
But so one of the things that I thought was kind of the coolest about this was that they say that like 2 months later they had a Skype call, and
that's right. Yeah.
They described them as like sitting in front of a laptop in t-shirts, with fancy costumes, and it's like
unheard of.
So everybody here listening and in this whole fan base immediately thought, I need a copy of that video. But yeah, so it was all it was scripted. So, and Metal Hammer kind of made a comment about that, well, not exactly scripted, but it was all the questions were advanced. Muse wanted the questions in advance. Metal Hammer said, this is not the normal way of doing things.
Right.
But so they actually, I'm a little surprised actually at the it was somewhat negative actually the way they described this. It was like every time we ask a question, they read a pre-prepared answer from a sheet of paper. If we ask anything that's not in the script, they look worried and confused and tell us to direct the question to BABYMETAL.
Yeah.
So, but they did get a little bit of off script stuff. So one thing that they mentioned was maybe is this uncool to like reveal all the stuff in the you should buy the Metal Hammer issue.
You should buy Metal Hammer.
Yeah. But anyway, so when they said when asked off script what is the most difficult part of touring, Metal deadpans, my suitcase is just packed. It's too full at the end of the tour. A lot of things accumulated trying to fit everything. That's the most difficult part of touring.
See, now I'm curious on what all they're collecting when they're going around on tour.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure they're bringing trinkets back. She's bringing trinkets and gifts for people, things like that.
For sure.
Yeah. It's probably not stuff that it's probably not stuff that fans give them. It's probably stuff they got themselves. But
yeah.
They talk a little bit about UA Metal. And they note that, it's likely the girls have been asked not to reveal too much about the subject, but they do say they've kept in touch. So that's interesting point number one that we know about that. And they do say this thing that everybody quoted. And in fact, they made this kind of a pull quote, like a highlighted quote on the page. They said, "We've been together for a long time. UA Metal is like a family member to this group," says Sue Metal. "Although she has left, we'll continue to support her and hope that she can pursue what she would like to in the future." So, that's what we wanted them to say that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seriously.
But anyway, so I guess the other things to sort of mention about this, I guess, is that they do have a couple of little like interesting little sidebars. So they have one with the guy from Sabaton, and they have one. Joachim Broden, and then they have another little sidebar talking with Alyssa White-Glues, kind of about their participation. Very interesting fact that came up in there was that Night Night Burn from this Metal Galaxy album is as old as Magitsune.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
kept that one on the back burner a long time.
Yeah. But what else? Let's see. They talked a little bit about future metal, and they quoted a bit as saying, "This ain't heavy metal. Welcome to the world of baby metal." And they relate that to a Bring Me the Horizon song called Heavy Metal from the Amo album. I don't know this, but apparently it is an illusion. But I think that's interesting because those have got to be official lyrics now. They must have
Probably.
the lyrics. So
I would think so.
yeah. So they use the word ain't. It's
I was always told that's not even a word.
yeah. But I was convinced it couldn't possibly be using using ain't. But if it's basically just a parody, basically, of Bring Me the Horizon, then okay, I could believe it. Yeah. Okay. So I think it's interesting. I don't think we need to really keep talking through all of the rest of the stuff that's in there. I think
Go buy it.
Kind of hit the highlights, and there's more interesting stuff in there that makes it worth buying.
For sure.
Definitely.
I have two en route to me, just in case.
Excellent.
Oh, no way.
So, okay. Yeah. So much for keeping things on the rails and constrained to short times. But I think we've still made it in under the 2 hour.
Oh yeah,
We are under 2 hours.
We're pushing 1:30, I think.
Yeah. But so I don't know, Garrett, was there anything you wanted to kind of add to any of these topics?
Are we going to mention the things that come with your issue of Metal Hammer, or are we going to leave that?
Yes, go ahead.
It comes with an art print and a patch. The patch is pretty cool looking. In fact, I would love to get that, as well as the print. I don't know, I like posters. Neat little thing to get from a magazine, going to a show and you're happy to get a lanyard, but get a patch and a print and a magazine and it's all the rage.
Yeah. They look cool too. The print is something like a constellation. I think it has I think it's like a fox constellation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the patch is basically the same design as I think on the the
On the
ugly
sweater? Oh, there is something else I wanted to mention.
Uh-huh.
I'm still formulating the thoughts in my head, but I forget where I saw it, so I'll have to find it and add it to the description later or something. But somebody found out the picture of the night sky or the stars in their album.
Oh yeah.
That, did you read that too? It was the Fox constellation was in that
in that area of space.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
I can't remember all the details, but I remember reading it. I'm like, oh, yo, that's cool.
Yeah, so there's a post on the subreddit that sort of shows detective work, sort of relating to that, and it was basically the looking at the cover of Starlight, the single. It's a big sort of like shot of the stars, and it was actually possible to figure out like what that is, and it turns out that it is in something that's sort of like a Fox related astronomical place thing. I don't know. It's named.
It's really
named
impressive sleuthing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it to share it real quick.
Yeah, but so I mean, like, first of all, it's really quite cool that the detective work to find that was really quite interesting,
Yeah,
and the tools that are available to find it are really quite cool. But I think maybe one of the most impressive things is that they actually went to, like, BABYMETAL went to the trouble to pick a sensible constellation, or not, it's not a constellation, but pick a sensible, like, astronomical body.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
Took some thinking on their part.
yeah.
An Easter egg that wasn't necessarily meant to be found, but if it was found, it's a big win, big plus.
Yeah, yeah. So that is pretty excellent. All right. I don't know, Kevin. Anything you felt like we missed?
No, I think we've got the last couple of weeks pretty well wrapped.
Yeah. So I mean, perhaps now we're going to get into the part where it's a lot of very good shows, mostly the same as what we already saw.
Yeah.
So it might not be newsworthy, but I'm sure they will all be great. It's always going to be interesting to see, who among the Avengers shows up. Are we going to see Kano at all? And so forth. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure actually when the next time we would. I guess we would record one more likely before the forum. So we'll check in, I guess, on things at that point.
Yes.
All right. So I guess we'll call it and say that that's it for this episode. You can join us on the BABYMETAL podcast Discord to continue the conversation. Rating the podcast on whatever platform you listen on will help people find it, so please do that. We'll be back in about 2 weeks, and we hope you'll join us then. And until then, see you.